Okay, welcome to another episode of the Critical Introverts podcast. I'm your host, Senor Filth. I'm joined by my co-host again, the Benevolent Asshole, and I'm also have Trevor Brown. If you want to introduce yourself again for the other people.
Hello, my name is Trevor Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Acropolis News Network, the world's first fully independent media organization powered by cryptocurrencies, Liberty platforms, and peer-to-peer advertising. You can go to theacropolisnews.com and purchase a premium subscription that starts at with two tiers, $5, $10, and we are having a 4th of July sale, 30% off, and your first month free. Just use promo codes ANN and July 4th.
All right, and we have also returning is Evine Arts. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Evine Arts. I am an illustrator as well as making an illustrated novel. You want to check me out for anything, you just have to go to coffee.com/evinearts, and I also do Twitch streams on twitch.tv/evine_arts. So,
all right, cool. This is an interesting episode. I've realized we've never done anything about just the general topic of abortion. So I figure with Roe V Wade, all that shit kind of happening, let's just see where this goes. I guess down the line. Huh?
Nothing too complicated. Very light subject.
Yeah.
I think we should also
page clearly.
Go ahead.
No, we're having some chamomile tea and just enjoying ourselves while we talk. Yeah.
Go on, Benevolent.
Well, I was gonna say, I think we should acknowledge too that I think you're the only one that's pro-choice, and I think everybody else.
We're here to gang up on you.
So yeah,
I was pro-choice, and I guess pretend to be on your side until I vomit, I suppose.
No, I think most people kind of just by default are kind of pro-choice. I think for a while too, I was pro-choice, just because of what they say. It's like, I'm not a woman, and I want to be able to respect. But it's not until actually I had women come to me and tell me that they had an abortion and telling me directly how terrible they felt afterwards, and then describing the procedure that they actually did on them. And it's interesting that those encounters happened within the same year. So I had it was just I don't know, girls just I guess they trusted me to let me know this. And this is within a 1 year where one girl came to me, she told me this, and then there was another girl that told me, and then I think actually, because I think I was working at the time, I was working at Walmart too.
Yeah.
So I think that had a lot to do with it. And also another incident, I think I brought this one up too, was at Walmart. It was just encouraged. It wasn't people. The thing about
it was encouraged. It was encouraged.
It was kind of encouraged or just spoken lightly. Because I remember one time this one girl walked into the break room, and then she sat down, and then some of her friends were next to her, or alleged friends were next to her, and she's crying, and then the one lady next to her, she's like, "What's wrong, baby? What's wrong, baby?" I'm like, "Oh, I just had an abortion, and I feel bad." And then and then I'm anticipating that she's gonna say something to make her feel better, something consoling, or say something that would help her. And without hesitation, the first thing that came out of her mouth, she's like, "Girl, I've had 3 abortions and 2 miscarriages." What the? I'm just over there trying to mind my own business. I'm like, what the hell did I just hear? And then
the miscarriages are morally neutral, but the 3 abortions is just please.
3 abortions and 2 miscarriages, and then she's just talking about it it's nothing. And then eventually she kind of just talks her down, and then she's like, I guess you're right. It's not a big deal. The thing is, even if somebody says it's not a big deal, it's one of those things when you get a girl pissed off, she's not going to admit that. She's like, "Oh, I'm fine. It's the same thing with abortion. They're not going to tell you that they're fine. They're just going to they're they're gonna act pissed off and frustrated, and then they're gonna just manifest it in different ways, and just and I think that's why a lot of women have become really ugly, where they cut their hair and start painting their hair 3 different colors. And I used to kind of think it's kind of cute on some girls, like with the color hair, but like it's just gone too overboard, where it's just like super short.
It's
And,
cute. It's cute. It's cute if the girl is cute, but if they're ugly, they just look more ugly.
I mean, it also would be kind of cute if the girl like shaved more than half of her head.
Wait, say it. Oh, say it again.
I said it would also be kind of cute if the girl didn't shave more than half of her head.
Yeah, I fucking hate that.
I've seen that like a few times. Just
well, you just kind of sort of call that the dog whistle haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I like to call it. And every single time one of these shows make a strong independent woman, they make sure that she's she's as least outwardly feminine as possible.
Yeah.
Like I noticed a Photoshop that they did with the new He-Man show was they took the female character
She-Ra?
like Washi, or that yeah, and they made her bald, and she just looked like a guy.
Yeah.
Ew.
If it wasn't for the hair.
Yeah, that always.
Indistinguishable.
Yeah, that always is kind of weird. Like when you're watching a movie and like the woman with like the dykey haircut just pops up, you just know that she's gonna be that character, like that. Yeah. I'm the kick-ass woman, and it's very eye-rolling shit. It's annoying.
Yeah,
I miss. No, I can't stand those characters. Every time I see them, I already hate you.
Yeah. I miss
think of like Bayonetta though.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Bayonetta. I honestly freaking love Bayonetta.
Like Gina Carano was doing good. I thought that was good, the way that she played in The Mandalorian, her character, where she was kind of like tough, but then at the same time, it's kind of sexy.
Yeah, she's always been really attractive.
She's always been conservative too. So
in order to be tough, you need to like women.
Apparently. Well, she's attractive.
All the top characters in fictions look like lesbians.
Yeah.
Basically. They think if you look like a lesbian, then you are a lesbian.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of, when you play a character that's supposed to be tough, I think it's kind of hard to balance that too. And like, even though she's playing a character that's supposed to be a little bit tougher, she still plays it in a way where it's still very feminine. You can still tell that she's a woman, because in reality, she's very attractive. She just kind of dresses the way that she does and acts the way that she does.
Yeah.
But in the show, The Mandalorian, she was acting a little bit more tomboyish.
Yeah, I guess, but she kind of pulls it off because she's attractive, but she's in that middle ground where she's not like dykey looking. She's still attractive.
That's what I'm saying. It still works.
Yeah, I miss.
I wouldn't be afraid to talk to her. Like, I would think she's gonna like body slam.
Yeah, she's always been really attractive. Like they did that American Gladiator revival show like 10 years ago or something like that, and she was on that, and I used to watch it because she was on it. And yeah, so I've known about her for a minute, but I just known her as like that hot muscle chick. You know what I mean? So.
When people bring up most celebrities, I have no idea what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Pull up like watching a show where someone playing a character and then being able to pull that actor's name from 10 years ago. I can't do that. For me, Marty McFly is Marty McFly.
Yeah.
I don't even know who played. Right, Dr. Brown is Dr. Brown. I have no idea who plays him, and I don't care. You know,
I'm not that great.
You made me laugh. I blew off my onion.
It's Christopher Lloyd, by the way. Christopher Lloyd is the.
Christopher Lloyd. Not remembering that.
I mean, I'm a movie dork, so I'm one of those guys that can tell you the name of actors and what other movies they've been in.
Because we're into like pop culture, and then just like not growing up, but like doing caricatures too. Like I kind of was forced into looking at those magazines, those like with the Jonas Brothers and it's funny because it's always Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, or like now it's what's that one guy that dresses like a girl, the Harry Styles.
Oh,
so it's like the same face. It's the same faces. So
I am lost on Harry Styles. Who is that?
He was didn't Candace Owens do like a thing about him?
He's the guy that wore a dress on like some kind of on Sports Illustrated or whatever, and
something like that.
Just because I'm a guy and I have an Adam's apple and broad shoulders and a deep voice that's 3 octaves lower than the average woman.
Yeah.
And I've been a man my entire life, and I have facial hair. Doesn't mean I'm not and I act like a man, trying to be the best in the female beauty industry. It doesn't mean that I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, sir. Sure.
Well, that's just you being a racist, sexist, homophobic, alt-right, neo-Nazi, maggot, fascist, bigot, fascist, reactionary bigot.
Yeah.
All right, what does that make you then?
A misogynist.
I like how his name is Harry. It's not like it's just a dude named Harry.
Yeah.
It's not like some annoying European name. It's just Harry. It's great.
Actually, do you remember?
That's a annoying European name.
Is it?
There is apparently a gender fluid fairy godmother in the most recent
oh yeah,
Cinderella, and it was a dude in a dress.
It's
like,
some
gender
black
fluid,
guy.
nothing, dude.
It's some black guy that he's like makes the round.
Some black guy with a facial beard and chiseled jawline that is on most male models. And it's just like, no, dude, you're a guy.
Yeah, I don't know that guy's name, but I know he has like a YouTube series where he like supposedly like calls out transphobes. It's annoying, and I'd be down to play that.
I call out transphobes too, but it's not like it's not like how he presumably does it, where like he takes this normal person who has a normal view of reality and goes, oh, you know, for me, I actively seek out people on the internet who genuinely have an irrational fear of people who don't understand basic biology.
Mm-hmm.
I actively seek them out, and then I make fun of them because they're worse than the people who are confused. Yeah. Because if you're afraid of someone who is that confused, you're double plus stupid, essentially. Not to like do any too many newspeak jokes, but it's like, okay, so you're just double plus. You're just double plus stupid. So yeah, I yet to find any, because it turns out they don't exist, and it's just a talking point. It's a slur, basically, is what transphobe means. It's basically a slur. Yeah. So yeah. There's no one who genuinely has an irrational fear of trans people. That doesn't exist.
So what's next on the agenda?
I guess let me explain like my pro-choice position. It's similar to like how I view maybe just I guess similar to like if someone wants to do drugs, like I don't do them and I don't recommend anyone to do them, but if someone I don't know or whatever does them, I don't really have any control, or like I don't want any like do your thing. I guess I kind of take the same approach. It's like I personally wouldn't want to like if I got someone pregnant, I wouldn't want to, you know, abort the kid no matter what. But I don't have any control over anyone else outside of me.
I'm kind of curious to know, like, if there's any story or where, like, I'm sure there is, but I've never looked it up, because we've talked about this before, where like maybe a dude is with his girl, and then they do things together, and then like she comes out pregnant, but then he doesn't know about it, and then she does the abortion. He finds out about it, and then is there any way like he can like sue or I don't know. It just seems so unfair for like if maybe the guy did, maybe on his side he loved her more than she didn't really look at the relationship as something serious, but like he actually would have at least maybe taken care of the kid and then maybe broken up with her.
It probably happens more often than
That doesn't sound like something that, you know, Rolling Stone would make an article about or anything like that. So
and then I think there's more benefits too in the woman sticking with the child, right? I think they get more benefits, more money from the government too if she keeps the kid, like if they separate afterwards.
Oh, like baby daddy kind of shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, are you talking about the welfare program that
the
encourages that encourages the mother to not have a father in the picture?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest reasons why the Black community in Democratic run cities are run down so badly. It's because fathers are encouraged to stay out of the mother's life.
Because
Hillary Clinton, they're super predators who need to be brought to heel. So from a Democrat perspective, it's actually a good thing that children only see half of their parents. Apparently,
I think that there are a lot of douchebag guys out there that just like leave their baby mama. Is that right?
Yeah.
They leave their kid behind. But there's also a lot of guys that actually want to take care of the kid. I think if I knew that happened to me, like I would want to take care of the kid regardless of what she thought.
Yeah.
I think there's more guys out there that think this way as well. They're just not hearing it.
Maybe, but when before that law was passed that that brought those women that welfare, there was 80% of fathers among part of their children's lives, and they were thriving because of it. So after this law was put into place, now like 20% of Black families actually have their father, and so
because if you weren't trying to ruin families, what you would do is you would say you only get welfare if both parents were at the very least in the home, and provably in the home, both of them for at least 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Well, I think this happened after like the Civil Rights Act of 1965, right? I think there was like a war against poverty, and that's where
we had a war against an abstract yet material concept that affected some people, and if you left people alone to their own devices, then they would get themselves out of that abstract yet material process. But the U.S. likes to go to war against abstract things like poverty and terrorism and #StopHate. Like we have this.
Well, it's ironic because the proposal is always gets like the opposite result. Like if they're going to try to eradicate poverty, you always get because it's the government, you get the opposite of what they propose.
But I guess BA, what you brought up just now is sort of why I started to take an anti-abortion stance, because I just noticed that a lot of the abortion stances in relation to why women should get them are essentially based on apparently, according to the abortion activist, the objective reality that men are intrinsically evil. It's why they say things like "no uterus, no right to talk about it," and why I facetiously reply, "no sense of morality, no right to lecture me." Things like that. It's not like the whole like what if the woman is raped by I don't know, what if a woman is raped by a woman? No, the obvious impotence to that is we should be able to, like, women should have abortions because all men are rapists. Like, no, we should be able to have abortions because I don't want to be stuck with having domestic abuse. What? Not all men are domestic abusers and rapists for the same reason that just because there are some prostitutes doesn't mean all women are prostitutes, right? You see how that works, and so once I started noticing that all of the abortion stances from people who are pro-abortion are predicated on two things. It's predicated on women should not be able. Is that women should be completely unbound by biology and reality, and that men are intrinsically evil. Well, both of those things are stupid. They're just stupid. And it's also the sort of, and then I looked in, and then I actually saw what abortion entails, and might I say, abortion was far less barbaric when it was a barbed wire hook. And so that's basically what happened. It was because I was being treated less for being born wrong, which is basically just what growing up being born wrong in California is like, basically.
Yeah.
So you live in Cali?
Unfortunately, yes.
God bless you, sir. Wow.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so.
Holy cow! Both of you two live in the anti-man state. Yuck.
But BA also. BA, we're all Cali boys.
How
the crap was it that you were the ones who made this show then?
I have no idea. Like
there is some anti-colonist action from I guess you could say conservatives. So.
Fair enough.
All right, so I guess let's just get into the decision itself. Let's put it simply. It's just it just takes it away from being a federal law and gives it to the states for people to vote for them. And why has that become such a scary concept to people?
Well, let's go over the timeline with this, because this is actually being brought forth long before the thing was leaked. I believe a couple months before the thing was leaked.
Yeah, there was some debates, I think.
In the year prior. The Supreme Court was debating the merits of Roe versus Wade as part of because a lawsuit was was given to them, and they're basically like, okay, so why should Roe v. Wade not be overturned? And all of the liberal judges are saying that with a thing, because the ones who overturned Roe v. Wade are constitutionalists, and the ones who are overturning Roe v. Wade are they're the sort of people that think that men are intrinsically evil for being born wrong, and that women should be unbound by reality and biology. So they're not constitutionalists, basically. So it's essentially, they were debating the merits of this, and then they're like, privacy. And then the judges were like, okay, but the constitutionalist judges were like, okay, privacy for what? Where in the Constitution does it say abortion for this reason? It's like,
yeah, I didn't get that privacy.
Like a hybrid of this one, and this one, and then the judges are like, that doesn't make sense. And then a few months to a year later, I forget when exactly they were debating it, but probably a few months later, the thing got leaked, and then a month later, the thing that everybody was predicting for, at this point, several months now, happened.
Yeah.
And it's and the reason why they're freaking out, and you could hear it in the way Joe Biden's language, right? You could say where they're essentially saying that the Joe Biden, Whoopi Goldberg, and all the other pro-baby genocide people, they're essentially going into. Is everyone all right? Is everyone frozen?
I'm fine.
I'm here.
I think Evine got
striking a pose right now.
So she, what is it? And all the pro-abortion people, they essentially believe that the Supreme Court has the right to draft a law through their decisions, and then they have the audacity when the Supreme Court fulfills their function and interprets the Constitution and says this should not be federal law because it is the role of the federal government to enforce laws, specifically the Constitution and laws that are drafted by the federal things that are constitutional. So when they're like, this is Joe Biden's specific language, they overturned a right held by women for 50 years.
Yeah.
And it's because they believe rights come from the state, because they have a bunch of Rousseauian assumptions on rights, which is basically the origin of fascism. And there are going to be a lot of people on the left that are going to take issue with that, but they can they can shut up. It's true. And so that's where we're at. 50% of the country thinks that the government has a right to create rights out of fiat, like the fascist, and people who don't think that, and they also think that they can, because the Supreme Court is not elected, so they think that the Supreme Court can do this just by. It's why they keep saying, "Oh, pack the court, pack the court, pack the court." Because they want to pack the court and and they think that they can create rights through fiat, because unser Übermensch has the right to kill the Jews. Yeah, why can't the Jude dictate to me and us in the fatherland how we get to talk? They don't have a right to the fatherland. They don't.
Yeah.
Basically.
It is interesting.
Incredible.
Because I do feel like a lot of people become so used to it just being a federal law that they've kind of absolved any responsibility of themselves having a position on a principal position on abortion. And like I said, I don't mind if anyone's pro-choice or pro-life. It's just as long as your reasoning or your opinion makes sense, instead of, because it's law or some shit like that. There's something about that that's kind of weird and creepy to me.
Or they're kind of exploiting the government, or like the law, just like kind of hide behind the government and say, okay, well, if the government says okay, it's okay if they kill like a little baby in the womb. It's like,
is there a limit to that idea of like the government said it's okay, so it must be like, is there a limit to that for you? You know what I mean?
Honestly, there's a reason that this country was started with the idea of a small government controlled by the people. And yet schools are not even teaching the Constitution, especially that the government is supposed to work for us, not the other way around.
Yeah, I remember telling that to people, and like adults, that concept, like they work for us, like we're their boss. It was like the first time they ever heard that.
I think the problem
is explaining it to my parents, so they were a little bit shocked about, and I was just like, "You guys didn't know this?"
Yeah. Go on.
The government doesn't get to throw you into a concentration camp and permit the mass slaughtering of babies on an industrial scale. Oh man, I cannot believe you would believe you're such a fascist. Oh my gosh. Even though you're not trying to make the state proletariat or anything, which is actual fascism, you should. Why aren't you on our side? Why aren't you on the right side of history, like the Nazis and the Soviets and the Italians and the Colombians and the Venezuelans? Why aren't you on the right side of history? Why aren't you on the side of the South? Why aren't you? It's almost like it's too comical. I can't last year I take it really seriously, but it's just not anymore. I will take the philosophy of it seriously because that's kind of fun for me, because I'm a piece of human filth and know-it-all. But like the people who believe it, it's just like, okay, all right.
I think the word fascist has become so played out. Like, I'm just so bored with it. It's like driving around LA, like I see like a lot of idiot like protester people, right? Like, like the Supreme Court, fascism on the right. I'm like, what the hell do you mean?
If you pack the Supreme Court in order to push through ideological legislation that only half the country would even agree to, that would incidentally be making the state an instrument of the state proletariat.
Yeah,
which is what fascism is. But
it's I have no idea. It's become like such a misused word. Kind of like racist, probably. Like, it's just a word that doesn't mean much nowadays. And the people that
I think
use
it's
it,
racism, also segregation, and sticking to your own, and race mixing bad. Also slavery good when white people don't do it.
mm-hmm.
I'm such.
Yeah,
I'm
there's like a
right.
tribalism about it all.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you're black and you're Republican, you are dissenting from the tribe,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird because like I don't even like most Hispanics, and I'm Hispanic, so it's just
Yeah.
like I don't give two craps if like my ancestors were Indians. I like my microwave.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Mexicans, being a Mexican, is that sometimes Mexicans will become so prideful that
Yeah.
they'll take pride in even like the shittiest of circumstances, the shittiest things. Like, you should take pride in like people like Javier Solis, like all this, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
black and white cinema, and like all these good things that they've actually achieved. But it's always like gang culture, or like just like drugs, or like something. It's like, why are you gonna be proud of like something that, or like not reading?
Yeah.
Like I used to get made fun of for like not reading. It's like anytime that you deviate from what you're supposed to be, it seemed that you were made fun of. Like if you were like, oh, you're
Yeah.
probably, it's like the same thing like what Trevor was saying earlier. It's like I've anticipated all this like decades ago, just because I was made fun of. Like I was being called
Mm-hmm.
what was it? Like I was being called white, like a white
A
white
pocho or something like
the
that.
white N word,
Culture.
the white N word, like when I was like a kid,
Yeah.
because I was just trying to improve my life. I was just trying to absorb culture. I was just somebody that was open minded to learning new things and enjoyed like different styles of music, different styles of things, food.
Yeah.
Food and,
When I was in
Ultra
school.
racist.
yeah.
Yeah. When I was in school, like the
Such an
whole.
nationalist bigot, BA, man.
Yeah, when I was in school, like the whole like Latino student union thing was sort of coming up, and like I always thought it was stupid, and yeah, like I got some flack for that. I've even gotten flack because like I don't speak with an accent, like I don't because I don't sound like Cheech, you know what I mean? Like I just
Oh, the Chilangos, yeah. Like,
yeah.
you're never gonna make them happy. It's like, is there all these different, you can say dialects or different accents? Like you're never gonna, because I had like a crew like in San Diego there, like from like Baja California, from Tijuana, and they had like their own sort of way of talking too, and I sort of was outcast even with that. Like initially they were cool, but then like they're like these sort of Mexican sort of hipster-ish sort of kids,
yeah.
or they like, o sea, mira, ¿por qué no hablas así de esta manera? Like it's just like just bullshit stuff that I wasn't gonna play these stupid games, put up this fake facade. Fuck you.
Yeah. What's funny is that Mexicans are like racist towards like dark-skinned Mexicans. It's the weirdest thing. They call them like Indios
it's
and
kind of
shit.
the same thing with other Hispanics, like Venezuelans and Puerto Ricans and Nicaraguans. Like no Hispanic culture likes the other Hispanic culture.
Yeah.
It's because they're not this. It's because they're not the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They do and eat different things. Like
Yeah.
I mean, look, I made
competing for the same
myself some
resources. At least they
ramen.
beat each other.
I don't know, like if I told this story, the one with the one lady from Mexico City, like that I was drawing her son, and then as I'm drawing the kid, even though like I introduced myself in Spanish and I spoke with her in Spanish, explained the prices in Spanish, she starts talking to her son and telling him, "Mira, el muchacho, él es de la India." Like what that means is like, oh, look at the guy, he's from India. Even though I had talked to her in Spanish, I'm like, it's like, am I that? I'm somebody from I'm somebody from India that lives in the United States that somehow knows Spanish. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
Maybe she just thought I was like one of those genius Indians that just knows like 5 different languages and for like I don't know, just for college or something.
Yeah. Trying to be an engineer.
It was funny though. Like it was so racist that it just went over my head. I just drew the kid and got my money.
I guess to go with the tribalism part, like the tribalism part is kind of like latched on to this abortion debate, and it almost seems like a lot of people on the pro-life or pro-choice side have become so tribal with it that like their arguments just suck nowadays, and
Well,
it's
it's not that they
unfortunate.
suck nowadays. They've always sucked. It's just the arguments are predicated on if you look into it, and then after you look into it, you disagree. It's because of buzzword, 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 dog whistle, dog whistle, dog whistle, slur, 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 slur.
I don't think it's always been this way, because I know like I forgot who, somebody posted online that it used to be like back in the early days, people had people that were pro-choice were like a lot more eloquent. They had stronger points. They could.
Well,
like,
what was one of these? What was one of these points from back in your day?
It's just like I think it was more being civil, but I don't think it's like a real good reason for.
I think the trap though is that like a lot of the pro-choice people, they try to I think they try to make an argument that it isn't immoral, I guess, like that. So they try to make it a good thing, and even someone who like me, like I said, I'm pro-choice, I always acknowledge that it's a fucked up situation, you know what I mean? So when people get away from that and they try to like have a bit more of like a celebratory angle to it, like that whole fucking shout your abortion movement, I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yes.
That was the most annoying.
It hasn't stopped. It's still going on. It hasn't stopped.
Can I use like a metaphor? I think people have gotten so used to it. It's kind of like a drug addict where they get like the drugs from the dealer, and then the dealer, oh here, the dealer's like the devil was like, oh here's some drugs. This is for free. This is on me. It's legal. It's like, don't worry about it. So the person takes it, and like over the years, it's just like he gets used to like the devil giving him, or the drug they're giving him drugs, and like, oh, okay. So they have this sort of entitlement, sort of like complex, and it's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, and it's just they become so addicted to it that they can't like say no to it. And the same thing with abortion. Like they made it legal, like through the Constitution. They amended to the Constitution that people have gotten so used to it now that they're like, oh please, like devil, please, like keep it legal, keep it. It's like they've got people to beg for abortion.
Please, Mullet, I've sacrificed so many children to you. Please, please keep. Please, I pray to Moloch to help me. This is gonna get clipped, Jesus. Yeah. To help me continue.
Senor Filth, where did you get this gem? Trevor is a gem.
Yeah, it's like a Faustian deal that people got used to it, and now like that they're kind of slowly sort of taking it away, even though it's not completely taken away. People are now begging for something that's completely immoral, and more importantly, they're begging it from the devil. That's the way that I see it. People can disagree with me.
It's actually not far from the truth, because like, have you at all noticed that like the Satanic Temple has been kind of making itself a bit out in the open lately? Because according to them, they've been trying to sue Texas for banning abortions up to the heartbeat previously, and they were also they put like a satanic idol in the Illinois Capitol, and now and now they are trying to like tell the states that, hey, tell them to give you a religious exemption to kill your baby, because they even said on their own website, they admitted that abortion is child sacrifice, and they use the blood of those dead babies for their friggin' rituals. That is a big fat no, absolutely no.
The thing is, the Satanic Temple started as a joke, but I think because it's been taking itself seriously for the past 5 years, because it's been taking itself seriously, basically since I've heard about it, you could just make it. It's just a cult. It's just
a cult. You say just a cult, and then like you start hearing like they actually take blood from the friggin' abortion clinics. How is it just a cult?
Well, it's Well, it's a cult in the context of a cult that worships Satan. So I mean, like,
like you meant like it evolved from a joke to just a flat out cult.
It evolved from a bunch of teenagers LARPing. I even knew someone who said that they were part of the satanic temple, and he one time just like grabbed me by the like he just grabbed me by the shirt, and not like in a threatening way, but he's like gesturing me to come over because he didn't want to tell anyone. It's like, dude, I'm fucking with people. no one believes this. We're just in it for the joke. As a kid in high school, I'm just in it for the meme. You can become part of the meme too. Like we have a look, and then he pulls out a cross, and then he's like, I'm literally just trying to make Satanists look bad in order to make Christians look good. It's so fun. It's a wild time. Or whatever, and then he put the cross back in, and then he put his hands in his pockets, and then he went from being all straight and up and all uppity, and then he went like this, and he went like, life is pain and suffering and sickness, death.
That is so hilarious.
Yeah. Like I exaggerated about like the posture a little bit, but that's like basically what happened. Like this is. I couldn't even laugh. It's just weird.
That is, I wouldn't know how to react either.
Yeah. How far removed is like Satanist from like an atheist? Is it just like a rejection of?
And you have a theology, which means you're definitionally speaking not an atheist. But from a Christian standpoint, anything that isn't explicitly Christian is of Satan. So,
what do you think, Evine? Is that correct?
I'm very Christian. Thank you very much. How that would be best explained. Atheists just believe that things are what you see. Life is life. When you die, you just get buried in the ground. You become energy. Continue the cycle of life when evolution began. Satanism, on the other hand, just tells you that do what makes you happy, and because you are your own god. So the whole thing with Satanism isn't like explicitly worshiping Satan and and like serve him only. It's serve your selfishness, serve yourself because you're God. And that basically plays into the whole thing of how Satan kind of succeeded in fooling the first woman, because his own words were, do this and you will become a god. It's basically the same thing in a religion.
I wonder is there any Satanist holidays? I'm just curious. Like,
I actually learned from this guy I watch named John Ramirez that Halloween is actually a time that Satanists really do come together and like perform rituals. I honestly thought that was a joke for a long time, but the thing was, he used to be a Satanist. He used to like play with all that junk and the astral projection. And, he said all the crap, did everything under the sun, even killed the chickens.
Okay.
Yeah. So like he said, no, Halloween really is worshipped by Satanists. So like, don't treat it like it's just another holiday. It really is something that people are using to influence children. And so like, since I heard that, I was just like, well, dang it. I actually really liked Halloween because I love dressing up. And then it's just like, well, that just kind of changes my entire perspective.
I thought Halloween, like maybe Satan, the people in the Satanic Temple do this, but I always thought it was like, it was just the American version. Like we essentially inherited.
Like solstice, like the Americanized solstice.
No, like we inherited. I forget the original Spanish.
Dia de los Muertos.
We inherited the Day of the Dead from Mexico.
Okay.
Dia del Muertos, is that how you pronounce it?
Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah,
De los Muertos.
Dia de los
It's kind of
Dia del
plural.
Muerto. Okay.
Yeah.
It's more than one dead guy.
So it's not third person dead. It's Day of the I Am Dead.
That's actually hilarious.
All right.
I guess next question would just be like, how the hell did this become such a hot topic?
It became a hot topic because it's about what constitutes human life and to what extent can a human life exercise their rights. Well, to anyone who thinks about this, you would just say you can exercise your rights up until the point where you infringe upon it.
Mm-hmm.
But then some enlightened people had some ideas, and they were like, well, it depends on what you mean by person. And then we just had an entire century of blood, war, and death, and we're sort of seeing the aftermath of it with American abortion, basically.
I mean, part of it too, I think it's like on a mainstream level, these kind of conversations aren't really being displayed for the normal people, and everything is just so, when you shy away from like the nuances of shit, all that's left is just the extremes, and the extremes get more and more annoying. And
there's also something to consider that so when you're pro-life, we all say life begins at conception. However, when you ask someone who's pro-choice, they can never agree on when life begins.
It depends on what you mean by human. Do you mean us Aryans, us Aryan Junge, or you mean the Jude? Because the Jude obviously not human. Yeah, you know, it's like okay, but instead of the Jews, they mean 24 weeks, second trimester, you know, then the heartbeat,
yeah,
or whatever. It depends on what you mean by human.
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't want a second civil war, but that's what the second one was about. It was half the country was like, well, it depends on what you mean by human, and the other side, the people who were on the wrong side of history, clearly were like Lincoln. I can't even do the bit with a straight face. They were basically like, what? You monster! What the hell's wrong with you? And then, you know, it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing over and over again. Because because Americans are a lot like Germans. We're just incapable of learning our lesson, and we just keep going through the same thing over and over and over again. And the conditions for the thing we keep going over seem to just create themselves every 80 years, right? Ended slavery. Then we had internment camps about 80 years later. Before slavery, we were before slavery, we were doing a sunset clause on the on slavery, 1796. I believe a sunset clause. Like basically, as soon as the country was established, we were. And like people were, and like everything was in its proper place. We're like, all right, well, this ends forever. And then some people on the right side of history were like, well, okay, but what if we had a line, and everything above this line is your stuff, where you can do things your way, and you can have your equal rights for Black people and all of your insane nonsense, and down here in the South, we can have our we could have our civilized, mature, adult slavery. And then like 80 years there was a civil war, and then before that, there was rebelling against the crown. It just seems that like every 4 to 8 decades, everything, like this country just seems to, like, even with the with the world wars. World War One, World War Two. It just seems to be that every 80 years, we Americans decide to just, instead of having common sense, to just go on some mass calling and, and just get ourselves killed for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know what's that about. It's weird. Do you guys have any? I mean, you guys are all pro-life across the board. I mean,
we're gonna gang up on you. So far, we've been doing well in ganging up on you.
Is there any? I guess taking away the rape and incest kind of shit. I'm not gonna say that happened. I'm not gonna use the rare occasion as a defense for it. But taking that out of the equation, like, is there any other instances where you guys are okay with it?
No.
Not really.
Even in the cases of like rape and you can, I guess, make an argument with rape. But when it comes to incest and abortion is eugenics, and it's all about culling the herd of humanity in order to bring about the perfect people, because they're a byproduct of the Hegelian dialectic, which means they're stupid in the name of being smart. And so like with the incest thing, like I'd even go so far as to say, like, abortion in the case of incest is basically, you're going to kill the baby, you're going to murder a human being because they're born wrong, because they have the incorrect genetics. And it's just like, oh my God. It's like, but what if they don't have thumbs? Animals get away with not having thumbs all the time. They live long, happy 14-year long lives. But like, it's, that doesn't, like,
yeah, I got you.
You can't do that. And
why not, like Hitler would do that?
Even as an atheist, I will acknowledge, or atheist for God. I've already explained this multiple times, and I can't even describe it perfectly well either. But even as an atheist, I would say that there is meta-ethical value to a baby in the womb as soon as it's conceived. Like it's not just the potential for life. It's basically all of the things that come with being human, come with being a fetus. It's sort of like I'm an adult, but I was a baby, and I had to as one comment put it on one of my reels, I had to be a parasite and like leech off a woman, which, by the way, babies aren't parasites, just like how Jews aren't.
Amen.
To the German Reich. Shut up, But like, even still, like, I'm still a parasite according to that framework. As soon as I'm born, I need the mother needs to feed the baby breast milk.
Yeah.
Because the baby can't chew food and can't like digest the milk of other animals and things like that. It's why formula has to be made a special way, and why you can't mix them with water. And I don't know what you're supposed to mix them with if not water, but all of those kind of things. And so it just kind of gets to a point where, okay, well, in the case of rape, children learn this: two wrongs don't make a right. I've just been gluteus maximus rights violated by someone in a dark alley. Let me go commit murder. It's like, no, no. Like, children learn this: two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, if someone if a stranger broke in and killed my family and like knocked me out and stole my things, I don't have a right to murder him. I may want to like feed him his tonsils or something. But what I should do is the moral thing, which is go to the police and settle it civilized and in a moral way. Or like when something negative happens, you're supposed to do a positive thing. That's the thing that cancels it out. Like that's
like don't continue the cycle of evil by doing something else that would be evil, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, what the
two wrongs don't make it right. Oh man, you stabbed me in the eye with a rusty screwdriver. Let me shoot you in the face. It's like, no.
Well, that's the argument that they always make too, is that
it's my right
if we
shoot you in the face, incidentally.
Well, the thing that they say too is that, oh yeah, well, if I give them up for adoption, like they're gonna get abused, or like they're not gonna get treated the way that they're supposed to. So let me just kill them instead. So how is that any better than them going through life?
It's not.
Let me interject. I actually had someone try to explain to me that I didn't have the right to like dictate her bodily autonomy. But then like I gave her this example as to like if we had abortion reversed, which now we do, but this was like a month before this happened.
Trans women are women.
Oh, screw you too. Anyway, so she was telling me that I didn't have a right to dictate her bodily autonomy. And I said, okay, well, let me put this into perspective for you. Say I'm across the street and I'm seeing you abuse your child, like you're getting ready to kill this child. I can't just sit idly and let you kill that child. I'm either going to run in there and save that child, or I'm going to call the police on you. And so I pretty much described it to her just like that. Like, that's why I can't stand with abortion, because you're about to kill a human being. So I can't just say, let you have your bodily autonomy if you're going to kill a child. And she, she told me like, you pretty much stood exactly where I thought you would. So just go ahead and unfollow me. It's like, fine, bye. So.
Why did you poison the food supply? Well, my body, my choice, you know?
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Funny enough, another podcast I listened to used the same arguments. Like, I do have a brain.
Well, the thing with pro-choice is that the only choice is to kill the baby. There's no like options.
Yeah, a choice to do what, you know?
It's like the pro-life centers where they'll actually try to give you options or choices. Like, well, we have adoption. We can try to help
we
you
do
this
have
way.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's honestly kind of sad. Like 13-year-old, like my husband used to work for Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
He there was this 13-year-old girl who was pregnant, and she was saying that, like, when this baby is born, I'm just gonna abandon it. And she was just saying this out loud. My husband can hear her out of earshot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, what the heck? So anyway, so like one of the workers of the Boys and Girls Club actually like talked to her finally and said, look, I don't want you to abandon that baby. Give it to me once it's born. Mm-hmm. So she just volunteered to adopt the baby. I don't know what happened to that girl since. Mm-hmm. But her very own words is that she wasn't done whoring around. And this is a 13-year-old.
and the thing is that they've empowered people so much.
Muhammad has just entered the chat.
They've empowered people so much into thinking it's not a big deal, that they don't understand the magnitude of their consequence after doing it, because you can't walk that back. I mean,
no.
I draw caricatures for a living, and like, even I think if they actually saw the baby be born and like the woman actually held the baby, they would not be able. I think most women would not be able to like
pull through with it.
Yeah, go through with it. Like they couldn't like be okay. Now you can kill it. No, like as soon as that mom holds that baby, I think there's this instant connection. Even if a baby is completely ugly, because going back to like me drawing characters, I've seen the ugliest babies. I've seen people bring the ugliest babies. It's not because they're ugly, it's because they just haven't developed yet. They're like still like little crusty looking. They have their little crusty faces where they look like they just came out of like a cage. They can barely see. There's no distinguishable features. You can barely tell. It looks like they look like little rat people.
Yeah.
So even those people, even those babies, like it doesn't matter. Like the moms and the dads, they love them. Like they worship. It's like I just don't understand. It's like if you got a hold of your baby after being born, I think if you're gonna do an abortion, you should be able to, like a late term abortion, you should have to hold them and then hand them over to the doctor and actually watch it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think not because I'm crazy. It's just because I don't think anybody would actually go through it.
Yeah.
I think everybody be like, oh no, like you can't take away my baby. It's like there's this connection that people that don't realize what they're doing, and after they do it, they end up becoming like empty inside. They're not gonna admit it, but a lot of
it's not just like the mental and emotional and spiritual emptiness though. It's also they destroy their body to the point where they might not have a child again. They've also kind of like mutilated their insides to the point where like getting a pregnancy could eventually kill them, or let's see what else, or there's just this, and the worst of the worst, the type who just is so dead inside that she just becomes a serial abortionist. Like she will, she gets pregnant at like a grandmother freaking bragged that she was on her 45th abortion, and it's just like
45th,
Jesus,
45th. Like these women are evil, and I it's almost freaking phenomenal to think that people like that exist. They're just I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. That's just evil. That is pure evil.
I wonder if like a woman like that like has like one of those you know when you go to Subway you have like the get 5 subs you get a free thing card, you know what I mean? Same thing for abortion, like get 40.
Well,
get the
no, what I think
Lord, that would be the worst.
Really do, like, not to draw too many Deutschland comparisons, but it really does. It really just feels like they pathologized babies the way Nazis pathologized Jews. And so like celebrate your abortion. I ratted on my neighbor who was I killed Anne Frank. Okay, it's gonna get clipped too. Okay, I was the one who called the Gestapo and had them come. Okay, that's the reason why the lieutenant knew for a fact that Anne was in the attic. Okay, I'm a true believer in I'm a true believer in feminism. I have a right to do whatever I want with my body. I'm a believer in feminism. If I can't murder this baby, it's because it'd be just like the propaganda book designed to instill hatred against men on the basis and grounds of them being men. It will be just like this piece of feminist propaganda. If I can't live out my feminist ideals, incidentally, and it's just one of those. I don't know, and I guess to like harbor onto who was the lady that wrote The Handmaid's Tale? I forget.
Margaret. I think Margaret Atwood or something like that.
Okay, of course it's Margaret, but but it's basically, aside from the fact that like these middle-aged women get paid to fantasize about being oppressed by men, you know, they're like, you know, like Maybe you should stop being a feminist to be a bit happier of a person. Who would have thought?
I would try to tell like some family members this, and they're just like, no, like there's the age gap and this and that, and I just there is no fucking age gap.
It's not going to happen. Hitler is wrong.
I meant to say wage gap, not age gap.
But it's just like aside from that, I've had the unfortunate experience. The Handmaid's Tale was in the school library in high school. I've had the unfortunate experience of reading The Handmaid's Tale.
Is it a book or a series of books?
It's a book.
Okay.
It's a book. But in The Handmaid's Tale, it's like this is literally the story. It doesn't even concur with reality because it was written by a feminist, which is why it doesn't concur with reality. So it's basically women are oppressed. And the reason women are oppressed in this story, which is written by a feminist, is that there are some women who are fertile, but most women are not.
Right.
And so basically, the men get to decide what these women do with their bodies, and they.
Oh, I get it now.
They gaslight them or whatever, and I'm just like, okay. Like by the time I got about halfway through it, there's
I
only
wouldn't have been able to go to the first page.
There's only so much genocide towards you that you can and discrimination towards you that you can ingest before you just get tired of it. And I was in high school and I didn't have the tolerance for being treated terribly for being born wrong that I do now. So it was just, I shouldn't have to have that tolerance, but I do. So like, I was just going through that, and it's like, if this was actually happening, and there was a small minority of women that were actually fertile, they would be aristocrats, and they would make all the decisions. Because they'd be the only ones who can continue the species.
Yeah.
I went to one of my family members' house. And I was just visiting, and she put on one of the first episode of Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, the show's nothing like the book. The show makes even less sense.
I don't even want to even touch the book. But after seeing this first episode, all I could do was just look at the screen, look at her, and all I could just think, what is this BS? This particular family member was a feminist, so it was just like one of those, this is such propaganda bull crap, and I am gonna go watch some Disney movies that actually are good, like back in the day. So I had to watch a Disney movie just to wash my mind of that trash.
It's like when Captain America was punching Hitler in the face.
Yeah.
It's just propaganda. But the difference is punching Hitler in the face. This is my view on propaganda. Punching Hitler in the face, that's good propaganda. Men are intrinsically evil because they're born wrong. That's bad propaganda.
Yeah.
Basically.
Absolutely. And actually, like I've always had like a pretty good relationship with my dad. So so it's either that or
You're not a feminist.
I'm not a feminist. I'm really not. I refuse to ever associate being a feminist. So I always kind of had this awareness, like even when I was a little bit more gung-ho about it, I had a little bit of an awareness that this movement seems a little bit like not so nice to boys. And like when little girl me watching movies where like, no, I don't want to be saved by a man, I want to save myself. I'm like, but I want to be saved by a man. I want to be saved by my prince. Like all of these movies were like giving this crappy ideology, and all I could think of the whole time was just like, but what about stuff for me? What about I actually want to see, because I feel like I really need some help here and there, and I don't know how to help myself. So it's just like I always felt like I was kind of pushed aside with my thinking. Every time I saw a freaking movie about like I don't want to be saved by a man, I was like, I do.
It's funny.
Women are feminists, basically.
They don't know what.
feminists.
Until they have to actually do something. That's when they're like, oh no, we need like a guy. But it's funny because like I was gonna say something when I was doing this one prom, and it's like they're like little high school girls, and they're talking. They're like little feminists, or they, I guess maybe they thought they were feminists, and they're saying all these things about guys. Like, I don't need a guy, and they're just going off for a while. And I was about to say, it's like, until you need somebody to open a jar for you.
I know.
Or until you need somebody to kill a spider for you. It's like simple things like that it's like they're like simple, but like they can't be like. There's nothing wrong with that. Like guys are good at certain things, and girls.
Why does the strong, independent woman have to have no attachments and be the most insufferable person in the room?
Yeah, that's always been super annoying. I don't get it.
Like even what they did to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman actually had a healthy attraction to dudes. Like she knew she could fight, but she knew she needed help from guys, because you know what? There's some things even she couldn't do. Yeah. And I love that about Wonder Woman.
There's something about being the descendant of an immortal god and living on an island in isolation for thousands of years that makes you quite out of touch with humanity, and you might need human beings to help you not be so out of touch incidentally. You know?
Yeah. It just happens that this human being was a dude.
Yeah. Yeah. The first Wonder Woman was actually really good. The movie. I did not see the second one. I heard that one was garbage. So
I didn't bother.
I heard the second one had like some kind of like monkey's paw that can like, or maybe it was just a little monkey paw.
It didn't have a monkey's paw, but it definitely had a monkey's paw aspect, so to speak. And what's even worse is that there was apparently a caricature actor used to kind of symbolize Trump in the second one. And it was like, I absolutely refuse.
Oh God, how annoying.
You kind of sounded like Trump for a second.
This dude or me? I'd be proud.
Mr. Filth, Senor.
You just I don't know what is a good abortion argument, like honestly, even from the 80s. Or maybe like when abortion like won, which was in like the late 90s under the Clinton administration.
I don't think it's a matter of like making a good argument for it. I think it's just people get into this trap of like trying to make it a good thing, and it's hard to articulate like when a bad thing might be necessary, and I think people just don't know how to explain that, so they get into this trap of like trying to, you know, make it more celebratory or like.
Well, that's because they have Rousseauian assumptions. So they're essentially socialists trying to bring about the supremacy of reason. And so the thing is, what things like human life, ethics, morality, these things are the opposite of reason, right? Reason is 2 + 2 equals 4. That is chair. That is piano. You know, that like that's reason, right?
Yeah.
And but then there's things that are being intuitive, like what constitutes a good thing and a bad thing, right? The answer is that's subjective. So if you're trying to bring about the supremacy of reason, or you're a socialist, then what you would do is you would say, well, there's no bad things. There's no, and just good things. In fact, there's no good things either. Everything is just people's choice. You can do whatever you want. You can put, you can ingest enough methamphetamines to kill five elephants. You know, and you can be around your family and all of your friends during that, and absolutely no harm will come of that, either to you or to the people you care about, because it's your body, your choice. Then there's like, and it's the same thing with abortion. It's the same thing with like basically everything what people call woke are advocating for. And so it's just like I just don't care what they have to say anymore. I'd rather just arm the people who are against genocide, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one question. Do any of you guys know that the original lady, Roe herself, actually only gave the argument she did? Like, so apparently, like, any of you are familiar with like what really happened?
Wasn't it like a fake rape or something like that?
Yes.
Something
So
like
what
that.
it was is that, so she described it exactly, that she had people come to her house and pay her a lot of money to lie about, and like how she was forced to have these babies, and so she needed to have the right to abortion, so there was no reason for her to like carry a man's child, especially the man who raped her. Ended up that it was all a complete lie. She eventually like got older. She never had an abortion. She had 3 daughters. She actually became a Christian. And since then, she has been advocating against abortion altogether, and she's been like silenced and like put to the side. But one of her last videos was that she is now going to spend the rest of her life like undoing the biggest mistake she's ever done, which was legalizing Roe v. Wade. So.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Jane Roe seems to not be a very reliable person. And it's just sort of like, I looked into her a little bit. Apparently, she was like a bit of a kleptomaniac before she was like an adult or whatever, and then throughout her adult life, she just did honestly a very corrupt thing, which was accept money in order to lie that about something that brought about the murdering of like just that we know of upwards of 60 million babies and things along those lines. So it's just like, it's like, I'll just assume like the simplest answer here is that she's actually a Christian and she actually regrets what she did, but like her entire life she spent lying is what it seems like. And it just sort of seems like if you're the hero for Roe, what gives you the most attention would be to be the anti-hero of Roe. Like, I have no doubt in like the whole she had children thing or whatever, but
she's not very reliable, I guess you were trying to say.
She's not a very reliable person. And Roe v. Wade, and this is why it was overturned, is basically when you have laws based on edge cases, you have bad law. And like for people who are pro-abortion, if you have moral principles based on edge cases, then you have bad morals.
Yeah.
Basically. And so no matter how you look at it, Roe v. Wade had to be overturned. And this is sort of the last thing that was on your show notes. Not the thing we didn't get into, but the other thing is that or the thing that you brought up. It just goes to the states. In fact, my California Reich is going to be expanding the definition of human to exclude babies up until the point of birth and even postnatal abortion in the Grand Fourth Reich of California. And the Grand Fourth Reich of New York is probably going to do something similar. So like it's like,
I definitely think
it's not over.
Yeah.
Ideally, there'd be no abortion. It would be outlawed all across the board. But
Texas has made it a death penalty to anyone who gets an abortion wrongly.
Because they have the death penalty if you commit murder. So this other thing that
makes me happy.
The death penalty for, incidentally. Nah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about the Jane Roe. Like, I think her whole life she was just paid. I think she just faked the whole time. Because I don't know, like you guys said, like she was paid like in the very beginning to like lie about like her rape as well, because that's something that I heard too. But based on the New York Post too, she also said that she was paid when she right before she died. She said that supposedly she was paid to become like a Christian, like to become like a newfound whatever, however you call it, the newfound Christian.
If that's the New York Times, I wouldn't really trust that one.
So no, well, listen to me, guys. Like the reason they did that is to like polarize both sides.
Mm-hmm.
None of this is organic. Everything is just kind of set into motion. Same thing like with like the whole J6 event. That wasn't organic. That was all planned out. Jane Roe is the same thing, because abortion wasn't really a thing until like she came about it, and then like she's like, okay, abortion is good, and then all abortion is wrong. So it just kind of polarized both sides, create like this stagnant stalemate between both sides that wasn't even there before. Like that rivalry, or that sort of like tribalism between pro-choice and pro-life didn't really exist like before that, as far as I'm concerned. So she created that sort of stagnant stalemate that we're in now, and they're reviving it again, and that's why they started leaking it again. Like, okay, let's get these idiots to fight among each other again.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. Even though I am pro-life,
is going to end the way the stalemate of this that led up to the Civil War ended. Is going to end something very similar. We're gonna have slave states or abortion states, and we're gonna have free states or anti-abortion states, and that's what's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
So,
I think as if
basically the second an abortion provider decides to keep conducting abortion in a state that has outlawed abortion because they have the woman height, the woman Reich beliefs. They're gonna. What's gonna happen is a bunch of people who are against genocide with some very itchy trigger fingers are going to go into that abortion clinic, and they're going to say, stop right now. And then the police are going to end up getting involved into this. And then that'll be it's just a powder keg in the States right now. By Bitcoin, I guess. I don't know.
All right. I guess we should start kind of winding down. I've already gone over an hour. I wanted to get into just the idea of like, I think not solely abortion, but just the culture has sort of shifted from like separating sex from, love, or separating from the need to, just have families. But maybe that can be another episode.
Yeah, I think that's going to stretch the episode.
Yeah.
Too long.
Yeah.
All right.
Besides, I keep getting kicked out on my end, so I think it's a good time to start winding down.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we all learned something today. I guess. I guess. Trevor, if you want to plug anything.
I can go last. Mine will take the longest. It's cool.
All right. Evine, you want to plug anything?
Sure, everyone. Again, if you guys want to check out any of my streams, you can check me out on twitch.tv/Evine_arts. I'm also in the process of creating that illustrated novel called Abigail. It takes place in the 1920s. It's supernatural, and it also deals with the same kind of corruption that the government and even like the devil kind of deals with. So if you like supernatural corruption, well, that's probably your thing. So you can check my coffee out as well.
I guess Trevor, if you want to plug.
Oh, you guys don't want to plug anything?
Oh,
I'll plug.
Actually,
okay, go ahead.
Is it okay if I say a couple of remarks?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And Trevor can. Just really quickly, I wanted to say this issue is important just because, as I don't remember her name, as a new congresswoman, I think that from the Mexican congresswoman in Texas.
Oh, Myra
Flores. Yeah.
The one, it's really simple, but the one thing that she pointed out is that we need to raise a generation that respects life. And the reason why that is so important is because it carries over into all the other issues that we have in life and in politics. So we need people that can respect life in order for all these other things because they're going to carry over to all these other issues. And then the second thing I wanted to say is it's kind of funny how they've recently announced with the I can't use the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Kentucky Brown, the new Supreme Court. It's funny how they announced that she's the first Black Supreme Court justice, even though there's Clarence Thomas there. And it's funny because the way that they say it, they don't say it's the first woman. They kind of, she did it to herself because she can't define what a woman is, so she can't technically say that she's the first Black Supreme Court justice because he can't define what that is. So I think it would be a funny twist to actually say, hold on. Like, it would actually be funny for Clarence Thomas to say, "Oh, I identify as a Black woman." So
I wish he did that.
So like, you did it to yourself, bitch.
Yeah.
No. Kavanaugh done that. That's so good. Kavanaugh.
All right, I guess I'll plug. I have this show. I also have my Big Cartel store. I have some new merch coming soon. I have these stickers, and I finally have this shirt made. I'll be putting it up soon.
Oh,
that guy.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead shirt.
Is that Army of Darkness?
Yeah, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness kind of thing. So I'll have that available soon. I guess that's kind of it. I also have this show weekly. I'm trying to do more solo-based scripted stuff. That's just a matter of finding the time to write stuff down. And I guess that's kind of all I have. You can follow me on all the social medias, Instagram, Gab. There might be another one I'm
Don't
forgetting.
say all of them. There's like 80 of them. Don't say all of them.
Yeah. I'm on a few, but you can add the link to all my stuff in the description. You can check it out to follow me. All right. Trevor?
Yeah, sure. My name is Trevor Brown, and I am the editor-in-chief of Acropolis News Network. You can go to theacropolisnews.com to experience the world's first fully independent media organization powered by Liberty Platforms, cryptocurrency, and peer-to-peer advertising. You can get up to 30% off your choice of a premium subscription and your first month free. Just use code July 4th and ANN respectively. And with your premium subscription, you can get access to premium articles, premium essays, and premium podcasts, and a bunch of other stuff along the way. And maybe years down the line, with enough subscribers, an alternative to Netflix. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my show if you click the links that are in the description and stuff. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. I'm hungry. I'm a skinny boy. I want to become big and strong. Please. Thank you.
Oh Lord.
All right, we'll end it there. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys another time. See you. Peace.
Bye.